So in here, I have a whole bunch of 3D printed interlocking tiles, and that is effectively going to be my sleeping pad tonight while I stealth camp overnight tonight. Brought out the electric trike in order to haul it. It's supposed to get down to a little under freezing tonight, and most importantly, it's actually supposed to dump snow. We're supposed to get like 5 to 10 centimeters. Now, some of you might be thinking 3D printed sleeping pad, this is just regular old PLA. Some of you might be thinking it's a really stupid idea and there's no possible way it could work as a sleeping pad. This actually will insulate me. I know you don't believe me, but I'll explain why it works in the morning after we've slept on. We're a couple days away from rolling into December here, and it's surprisingly still green in some places. Hasn't fully killed off the grass yet, which means I'm gonna have more protection for line of sight than I thought. Oh, it's kind of overgrown. Not only will I get extra line of sight protection, but all the greenery will also help block the wind. It's pretty still in here, which works to my favor. I know these electric trikes look kind of dorky, but when you think of them as like three-wheeled ATVs, you learn to look at them a little different. Just powering through all this shit. Well, this is going to be home for the night. Yes, I know I picked the perfect color trike for stealth camping. Gonna blend right in all this green. I don't know if you watched that video, but this trike was actually sent to me for review. I didn't get to pick the color. Otherwise I would have went for something a little more less noticeable. I don't know how much daylight I have left, but I should probably work quickly. Let me figure out what I'm doing for my shelter here, and I'll show you guys my 3D printed sleeping pad we're going to be sleeping out here in the woods on tonight. I got my blue ground sheet all set up. It's just a tarp from the dollar store. And I've got these interlocking tiles. I'll give you a close-up once they're all assembled here. But it's almost like those, you know those garage foam interlocking mats you can get for insulation? Same idea. Just 3D printed out of completely normal PLA. Nothing special about it. It's just bog standard PLA. Oh, I gotta be careful because the ground is a little uneven, and the connectors for these tiles are very loose. They're not very connected together. Oh. So yeah, 3D printed sleeping pad. This is what we're sleeping overnight on. And just to be clear, just in case, I did bring my winter sleeping pad, but I know this thing will work. Like I'm warm on the underside right now. Yeah, seriously, this is very warm to lie on. There's no trick to it, it's just regular PLA. So here's how it's designed. Right? We've got all of these interlocking tiles. You can see they're not sitting all flush because the ground underneath is very uneven. There's a lot of branches and stuff like that that have been somewhat flattened down by me lying on top of it. You'll see these divots. Those are an important part of the design, and all that's underneath it is just this blue tarp. Kind of excited. It's been a while since I've been out on a little overnighter. Okay, we got it all nice and done. It's pulled very taut. I got toggles in both ends, staked out in all four corners with peg stakes. You can see my sleeping pad under there. I got lots of space to sit up and have my rucksack under there and everything. The trike is probably going to sit outside in all this nastiness overnight, but yeah, as you can see, we're losing light. That's the downside to camping this time of year. There's not a lot of daylight to sit around and do stuff. I'll loft up my sleeping bag, let it sit there for a bit so I can decompress. Yeah, I think I got myself a nice little home for the night. This is it. That's all we have. A tarp to protect us against the snow. Otherwise I would have just cowboy camped. Not even bothered with the tarp. But it's going to dump tonight. And yeah, as you can see, just on top of the sleeping pad. Well, it's kind of dark on the GoPro, but yeah, you can see it poking out from under there. And then I'll use my backpack as my pillow. The orange from the Trike stands out like a sore thumb. I mean, it's getting dark now. It's not really all that important for me to cover it up. But I've got this brown wool blanket that's part of my winter kit. That's normally a layer for my sleep system. If it were to get a little bit colder, it's supposed to dump snow tonight. I think what I'm actually going to do is use that blanket to cover up the Trike. Okay. Okay. You might be able to tell on the GoPro it's starting to get a little fuzzy as it tries to compensate for the lack of light. Oh, and it's like 4:30. But we're all squared away. I can fit both of my LFP batteries in the back, and I should be able to stretch the range of this thing without having to be anywhere close to an outlet to like almost 200 kilometers. It's something crazy like that. I brought a little something to play while I'm out here. A little Trim UI brick. I know it's kind of hard to see in the dark here, but it's a little Game Boy looking thing that can play up to and including like PlayStation 1 N64 era. It's an emulator, and I brought it out with me so I can play some video games. I have very fond memories of being a kid at recess during winter time playing Pokemon Red on my little Game Boy Pocket. Unfortunately, I can't show you guys because Nintendo is very antsy about showing stuff being emulated. Yeah, the Trim UI brick. I'll link it in the description if you guys are interested in checking it out. It's very small, like you can see it compared to my hand. So it turns out the battery was dead, so I'm gonna have to let that charge for a little bit off of my big ass battery bank. I guess it's time to get something quick to eat. Something simple. Alright, dinner of champions right here. Some crackers, a Cliff Bar, and a probably expired pack of Mr. Noodles. We're living it up high lifestyle tonight. Some alcohol fuel. Pot full of water. Put the stove stand on there and use the ferro rod to strike her up. One strike start, nice. And we sit this as centered as we can. This is a very sketchy setup because this pot is massive. It's a 3-liter pot. And so what I do is I use my lid as a stabilizing platform. I put the thing right in the middle, and that lets me perfectly center the pot on top of it, even though I can't see the actual stove. So we'll just let that do its thing. I cleared out a space around the pot because a lot of dead brush around here, so a little bit of caution. It is fairly damp because it's been snowing and raining a lot, but never be too careful. All right, we are at a boil. Very carefully grab this and take it off. Put the seasoning in my noodles. Drop my fork right onto the ground. Now, in winter, it's always fun trying to eat all of this before it gets super cold. Pretty good. Doesn't taste expired or anything like that. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna pack all this away, and I guess I'm gonna retire to my tarp in my sleeping bag for the night. So I moved my Trike right up against this tree so that it's a little bit more protected from the snow and rain from this big tree here. And that should keep it mostly protected. There. That's perfect, at least it's covering the most important parts. On that note, I think it's time to retire to my tarp. Tarp's nice and taut. If some snowfall comes in, it's gonna probably make the walls sag in a little bit, but I have a liner that I'm gonna put in my sleeping bag. So this is the test, guys. Do you think this 3D printed sleeping pad is gonna hold up? I'm gonna get my shoes off. Alright, let me get all squared away here. A little bit of a complicated setup for my winter sleep system, especially if I have the wool blanket on as the third layer. But you know what? It works. And you know what? I'm warm on the underside, on the sleeping pad. Look, that's what I'm on. Nothing else. It'll be interesting once the snow starts. So I put a bit of a charge on my trim UI brick, and I've been trying to turn it on. And since I got this thing, like 1 in every 2 times I try to turn it on, it doesn't work. I'm using the stock OS on this thing. I haven't tried putting like MinUI or anything like that on it. All right, so I forced it off. All right, attempt number 3. Is it gonna load? It is looking like no. Nice. I'm so glad I spent $100 on this thing. And it's still stuck on the splash screen. All I wanted to do was play Pokemon. I know it's early. It's only what, 6 o'clock, but you know, I'm all crawled into here. I'm just gonna chill and fall asleep when the time comes. So yeah, I'll catch up with you guys in the morning and let you know how it goes. Good morning. It might not seem like it, but it's almost 7 o'clock. It's the downside to this time of year, where it's very dark, even in the morning. It started raining at about 11 o'clock last night, and it's been pretty straight through the whole night. My water didn't freeze, which means it's been above 0, but it's very, very close. But I have been snug as a bug under my tarp, nice and dry, nice and warm. And I was right, this 3D printed sleeping pad kept me nice and toasty from the underside. The walls are kind of sagging in on me. I think it's time to tear off the band-aid. This type of weather, where it's you're gonna get absolutely soaked if you're not careful, is a great way to catch hypothermia. This is my least favorite part. Get out of my nice warm cocoon. A spider had decided to come and keep me company. I was hoping all the bugs would be away for the season, but it looks like that's not the case. Yeah, the 3D printed sleeping pad worked like a charm. My backpack is all squared away for the most part. Got all my stuff put away. Okay, 3D printed sleeping pad. I promised you I would tell you why it worked. It is the exact same reason that a sleeping bag works, or my winter jacket works. It's the air that it traps. And these, they're mostly hollow. There's a 10% infill in here, just enough to basically support my weight and allow me to print the top surface. So there's that. And then you can see I've got these divots on both sides on the top that allows my sleeping bag to loft into it. And on the underside, that traps air and minimizes contact with the ground. And it's 90% hollow. So all that air trapped in there, that serves as insulation. And that lets me use a regular old PLA 3D printed tile as a sleeping pad. Now, wasn't the most comfortable thing to sleep on ever, because it's so hard, but just for purely experimental purposes and like the why not factor, it works. Let me know if it performed better than you thought it would. Anyways, I gotta get out of my tarp here and put my rain poncho on and start doing the final teardown, and also check in on my trike. I don't know how well you can see on the GoPro, but it actually is snow. I'm seeing some white around here. So I don't get soaked through, the rain poncho goes on. The trike actually looks like it's okay. The blanket isn't actually even wet all the way through, it doesn't look like. Yeah, we definitely started to accumulate a bit of water on the outside of the tarp here. Trike doesn't look like it took too big of a beating. I just gotta be quick about getting out of here now that I got the blanket off of it. So I'm gonna stuff the last of my stuff in here, pack up my tiles, and yeah, get the heck out of here. All right. Oh, that's really heavy with the soaked wool blanket and everything. But anyways, we're all set up to get out of here. So let's do just that. Well, it's not a successful stealth camp until we successfully exfiltrate from our little stealth camp area here. As you can see, Everything got a very healthy coating of white, but again, it is above zero, so this ain't gonna stick around. My gloves are soaked through. Oh man, the traction of this thing on the snow, excellent. It's so much more stable in my bike. The three wheels really do a lot to keep you stable on slippery snow like this. It looks like all that de-icing they did yesterday is paying dividends. Anywho, that marks another successful outing. Stealth camping, sleeping overnight in winter on a 3D printed sleeping pad. I hope you guys found that as entertaining as I did filming this. So make sure you subscribe if you're into that shit.